Welcome everybody back to the X Factor Sports Talk. As always, I'm joined by my beautiful two co-hosts, Troy and Caleb. We are here to talk some sports. We got some NBA, MLB, wrestling. We got it all for you today. Boys, how we doing?
Living. How are you, Caleb?
Can't complain.
Yeah, and we're just going to dive right into the NBA topic that we have for you guys. And obviously, the NBA season's at a weird little standstill where you're kind of just dying to get towards training camp, preseason, even a trade, something just to let the dominoes start falling. But we wanted to look at some top available free agents. So the free agency, obviously, we'll have a whole video kind of recapping free agency. But the left free agents, I was kind of telling them as we were joining here, it's kind of a weird pull whenever you look at it. I feel like normally around this time, there's a couple that you can point to. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Fred, we'll start with you. Maybe one or two names, or just, you take it from here. The top available free agents in your eyes, and what could they do? Who can they help? Just let's take it away.
Yeah, I don't think this is like a flashy name or somebody who's going to come in and, set the world on fire. But I think he's a 3-and-D guy that can definitely make some noise. He's actually a former 6th overall pick just a couple years ago in 2019. That's Jarrett Culver. Finished last year with Memphis. Didn't re-sign. He only averaged 3.5 points last year. And his rookie year almost averaged 10. But I think he's a guy with a lot of upside. It just didn't stick in Memphis. He started his career in Minnesota, then got traded to Memphis. But, I really liked him at Texas Tech. He's lengthy. He's long. He's got a lot of athleticism and he can shoot it. And I think a young guy that guys can really mold into a 3-and-D. So maybe a contender that could go out and get him I think that'd be really good for his career.
Yeah, I think the best situation for him would just be a team that needs some youth and, could really develop him.
I thought that was going to be Memphis. You know what I mean? Memphis seemed like a really good spot for him, and he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, he's a weird name, man. He's just a kid that just hasn't found his footing at all.
Yeah.
And Caleb, what about you?
First name that I've got is a guy coming off injury. It's Collin Sexton. And the reason I have him down is because he's a restricted free agent. So the chances of him going anywhere but Cleveland are pretty minimal because, he's going to have such a small offer that I think Cleveland's just going to be like, why would we get rid of him? But I think if he was able to go to another team, he could be a key. Like, let's look at the Mavericks, for example. They just lost Jalen Brunson. So now they need somebody coming off their bench who's a score first kind of guy. I think Collin Sexton could be that. Only played 11 games last year, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. So I think he could be a guy that you could place in somewhere like Dallas, that he could come off the bench and just have the green light to get out there and, try to score while Luka and Spencer Dinwiddie take rest. But he's ultimately probably going to go back to Cleveland, and I don't see why that wouldn't be his role there in Cleveland either, especially with the moves they're making. Now that they have size that they can bring into the starting lineup and have him come off the bench and try to work his way not only back into a rotation, but into a better contract next year. So he's my first guy. I'm interested to see what happens with him.
What do you think his ceiling is as a pro? Or is he already kind of there?
I'm not a Collin Sexton guy, at all. But a good 6-man, he can be a guy that kind of a scoring 6-man. He's just another undersized guard. I didn't really understand whenever they drafted Garland to pair with Sexton. I was really confused by that. I'm like, this doesn't really add up to me.
I think they realized Garland's better. They're like, oh, well, maybe we missed Garland.
It's weird because he had, was it last year or 2 years ago, where he started the season super hot and went on a really tough stretch. But I think, he obviously cooled off, but it's there's not a lot of places in the league for undersized 2 guards that are only scored first.
He could kind of give me a Kemba Walker career vibe, but not even as successful. Just
not
a scorer that can be on a really bad team and be solid, and everybody's like, oh, he's underappreciated or whatever the case may be. But in reality, it's he is what he is. Yeah, Kemba Walker had his chance with a better program or a better organization, and it kind of the tires kind of spun out on it. So,
I would like to see him come back to Cleveland and take a bench role. I just don't know how much he'd want to do that.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big ego for a guy.
He's got no other choice really.
He's not good. If he would buy into that'd be a solid backup one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Fred, do you have another name for us? Or?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Hassan Whiteside. I've always liked Hassan Whiteside. I know he can kind of get pushed out as lazy or whatever it may be, but I mean, my guy still puts up numbers. He played a lot of games for the Jazz last year, averaged 8 and 8. I mean, that's solid for a veteran big, and I think he could go do a lot of good things to a team who has a young big, be it, I don't know, even Detroit, somewhere like that, where they just drafted a guy like Jalen Duren, where he can mentor a guy, good shot blocker. I mean, his career, he's averaged over 2 blocks a game most of his career. So I would like to see him go to a youthful team as well and kind of help mold a big.
Yeah, I mean, Hassan Whiteside, I mean, he came out of nowhere, it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden now he's 33. So it's like, I mean, this guy, I feel like he's aged extremely quick. Whenever you look at the big man market, I mean, Aaron Baines is trying to make a comeback. You have Dwight Howard. You still have Willie Cauley-Stein, DeMarcus Cousins. Obviously, Montrezl Harrell, who's having some legal stuff that he has to work through, but whatever that entails. And then, of course, Tristan Thompson. So, I mean, the big man market is extremely filled with guys a lot like Hassan Whiteside.
It's interesting because there's a lot of names that probably about 5 years ago you'd be trying to snatch up, but not even 5 years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, you'd be interested in signing. But
it's a very weird market when it comes to bigs. But I think, you could point at Dwight Howard or Hassan Whiteside as more set in stone when it comes to who you'd be willing to bet on. Caleb, what about you?
I've got Dennis Schroder next. 13.5 points, 3 rebounds, 4.6 assists on like 50-something percent, or 50-something percent, not percent, but games played last year. He's another guy. He's older than Collin Sexton, but he's another guy that's a score first guard. They brought him onto the Lakers 2 years ago, Troy, and as you know, they didn't really work out as well as they thought. He really likes to shoot that ball. But he's a guy that I think could make his way onto any roster. He's solid enough to start for you in the middle of the season, while the games are getting, rough to play through or everything, but also to bring off the bench, to be a score first guy. And I don't think you feel pressure to play him a whole lot because it's like, I mean, 13.5 points and 4 assists. That's pretty much the best you're going to get out of him. And I could guarantee you have a better guard starting above him. A team that I think could potentially is, why not send him back to the Hawks? Have him come off the bench for Trae Young. Give Trae some more rest. You have DeJounte Murray now, so I think he could play with either one of those guys. But when one or both of those guys go to the bench, have him come in. You still got your offense rolling. You're a little bit deeper than you might be used to, and he has the green light on the second, third unit. So,
see, I'm a believer in Dennis, man. I love Dennis Schroder. Like, I'm a huge Dennis Schroder guy. Like, if the Lakers are to have to trade Kendrick Nunn or whatever the case may be, I want them to bring back Dennis Schroder. Like, I think his failure in LA is so overblown because it's in LA. I mean, the dude almost averaged 16 points and like 7 assists. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers here, 5.8 assists, 15.5 points. And the guy, I mean, yeah, he only shot 43% from the field, and he's not the best standstill shooter or whatever the case may be. But like, for what he does, he was still extremely solid. And he was solid enough for the Lakers to offer him a 4-year, $80 million contract. It just so happened that he declined it, bet on himself, and then absolutely stunk in the postseason.
And the Lakers did offer a whole lot of money to Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng. So
yeah, but that was a different market. That summer was just weird for a ton of teams.
Money has changed since then.
So it's just he's one of those. I think he's a product of, he was terrible in the postseason for a huge market, so his name just got dragged through the mud because he was awful. He went through a month stretch where he was god awful. Like, you didn't even know who you were watching. But in terms of what he is, maybe that did turn his career into just a backup. But I think he can be a starter somewhere. I really like Dennis. I think he's He's a solid player. Now, where? That could be another question. But
What about you, Troy? Do you have any names off the top of your head that staying out to you?
Of course, you want to. There's obviously the two guys that are going through the legal stuff with Miles Bridges and Montrezl Harrell, and of course, Miles Bridges. Yeah, Miles Bridges potentially ruining his career on what could have been the biggest payday of his life is one of the craziest things I could have seen.
He deserves everything coming. So
I completely agree. I think a shot in the dark guy would be Josh Jackson. I think just a high upside guy. Was a high lottery pick, was a high 5-star rated recruit. I think his
it's
career,
so weird that he's not found a spot in the league like to stick at.
Oh yeah, I mean
he's got the perfect build. He's a freak athlete. Like I don't understand how he never found somewhere to really stick.
I always thought the same thing about Stanley Johnson too.
Yeah, I just think his shooting, like he's just not a good shooter. And that can be difficult to stick. I mean, last year for the Kings and the Pistons, I mean, he shot right around 20% from 3, 23%.
Okay, well, there maybe there's my answer. But it's like, so I feel like there's always a team that has a guy that's just like out there for 15, 20 minutes a night who's just a freak athlete that just runs the floor. And there's teams always love that kind of guy.
Yeah,
maybe
but even
the
then,
wing position though.
Yeah, it's hard as a 2 to just be that. Normally, you want your 4 or your 3, like a Derrick Jones Jr.
He's got the size to be a 3, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like 6'6", right?
Yeah, but that's not really a 3 in today's game. You know what I mean? Like the 3s in today's game are more like 6'8", 6'9". It's all about length, and obviously athleticism, shooting. But he's not a 3-and-D wing, which hurts him because obviously everybody's like, let's have 2 stars and then our 3-and-Ds. Yeah. And see what happens. So obviously there, and then I think a kind of like a base guy that I really like Eric Paschall.
I had him
solid start to his Warrior career, and then got traded, and obviously did not play well for the Jazz. But just a little spark plug off the bench, and maybe he is what he is. And then a guy that I think could go help a contender is Carmelo Anthony. I think Melo still has a little bit in the tank as a 3-point shooter. He shot incredible. For the Lakers last year, was a bright spot in what he is, but do not have him out there in crunch time anymore. Dude can't guard, dude can't rebound, dude doesn't try on defense, dude doesn't try to box out. So like if you just need him to go out there, give your fans some energy for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just Staples/crypto.com arena, love the guy. Like anytime he came in, no matter how bad that season was, he got an absolutely standing ovation and people went nuts. So if you can just need a little spark plug off your bench, if you're a New York Knicks that, you kind of are fluttering in what are we? Are we a playoff team? Are we a bad team? What are we? So maybe, a reunion in Denver, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of.
I'm big on reunions. I love reunions. Yeah.
Him in Denver would be interesting. But, just. Those would probably be my 3 that I highlight. All, of course, forwards, but I think the guard market outside of Schroder and Sexton is so bad. The center market outside of Whiteside and Dwight Howard is so bad. And then, I mean, the wing/forward market is, you're picking your teeth if you're needing to sign many free agents right now.
Not the best free agency class we've ever seen in our lives. I'll tell you that.
No. I got a question. Is Blake Griffin's career over?
Yes.
Yeah, he looked bad.
Yeah.
He had about 5 minutes of fame in that playoff series, and then he absolutely ran out of gas.
Dude, he has nothing left in his legs.
I know.
Nothing.
Poor sucks, man. Because I really thought like you started to see when he was in Detroit, him start to develop a 3-point shot more consistently. And I thought he was going to be a very solid role player as he got older. And then it just went downhill real quick. I hate it. Blake Griffin was really, really fun to watch. There for several years and
high flying
pretty
quickly. Yeah, ended pretty quickly.
The tread just wore on those tires, man. And
especially whenever you're an athletic freak like that, the minute your legs give out, I mean, what good are you?
That's all he did was jump.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him develop a jump shot earlier in his career. I think that would have saved him years.
I don't know about early because I mean what he had worked for the longest time. I think it's I think he developed it at the right time when he was transitioning to another level of his game in Detroit, but then injuries and everything else just caught up to him. It's rough.
It is. Very rough.
I mean, most of his career is playing alongside DeAndre Jordan. So, I mean, it's not like
I still can't believe that team didn't win shit, man.
Yeah, the game changed so rapidly in like the prime of his career. So, like him trying to adjust to all that on top of injuries, I mean, he was just destined to just.
We're looking at two Nets last year retiring this year, and him and LaMarcus Aldridge.
I think LaMarcus Aldridge should get another chance somewhere.
I think Blake
he can't move even worse than Blake Griffin.
He's a bucket. Like that dude, you put the ball in his hands, stand still. He can.
Him in San Antonio, bro, in his prime. That little 18-footer elbow yumper. Pinkies.
How about him and the Trailblazers was nasty. Like he was just raw.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, we're ready to move on.
Yeah, man.
We'll move on to some NFL here. There's not any real breaking news when it comes to NFL, but there is breaking news when it comes to Madden. So why don't we dip our toes in the video games, but also stick to football? We'll go through the top 10 in quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers when it comes to ratings. Fellas, what position do we want to start with?
Start with the head of the Hodge, quarterback.
Quarterback. You want me to go from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
Go 10 to 1, and we'll react to each one.
All right. We'll go number 10. We've got Matthew Stafford at an 85 overall.
I'm not mad about it.
I think it's a bit low for a guy that just won a Super Bowl, led his team. I mean, anytime Matthew Stafford goes anywhere, a wide receiver tends to always boom with like Calvin Johnson, obviously. And now Cooper Kupp is just reaping the benefits. I think that Matthew Stafford kind of gets underrated. And the fact that as we go higher in the list, some of these quarterbacks are rated higher than them, it just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, writing it down, I was like, wow, Matthew Stafford, 85.
I think every quarterback above him is better.
I disagree.
Maybe one, and that's it.
Disagree.
Okay, we'll go. Russell Wilson is up next at an 87 overall.
If anything, that one's too low. I think he should be in the 90s.
No, dude, I think Russell Wilson is one of the most overloved quarterbacks I've ever seen in my lifetime. Everybody acts like, he does, but I mean, I don't know. And I'd rather watch Kyler. I'd rather watch, Lamar. I'd rather watch some of those guys. And Russell Wilson, I mean, I'm a huge Colin Cowherd guy. People don't like him or whatever the case may be. But dude, he thinks Russell Wilson's like the second coming of Jesus. Like he is all over Russell. And
just a good Christian man.
Just a good Christian fella that, has a beautiful family, the Broncos country. Let's ride.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
But that's another guy. I mean, Matthew Stafford's coming off a Super Bowl winning year, can make absolute dart throws, like has shown it. And then we have a quarterback coming off an injury, had a so-so year even when he was out there. And it's like your team was god awful.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, with just one of those they're probably projecting regression. I mean, he is, at 34 or something like that. So I mean,
he's getting up there.
Yeah, exactly. So if they're projecting that, why not have Matthew Stafford coming off a solid season higher than him? You know what I mean? Like I said, I feel like we see that in like 2K. Like 2K, if a guy's coming off an injury, their ratings tend to be lower because I mean they'll bump them up if they play well. So
no matter how good Russell Westbrook is, he's still going to be like a 78 when the next game comes out because what we saw on the field. Now, granted, Russell Wilson is nowhere near that level of regression, but I'm just saying, name to name value to name value. I think that Madden can sometimes just get a little high on the name and not.
Yeah, I think that's what
what they see
with Russell here. But coming in at number 8 is Lamar Jackson, also at an 87.
No complaints there.
Yeah,
I love
no strong feelings.
Right in anyway, so
yeah. I love Lamar so
much.
He's
got 96 speed this year. It's insane.
Justin Herbert coming in number 7 at an 88 overall. Any strong feelings there? I
love Justin Herbert, so that's fine with me.
Yeah,
I think between him, Burrow, and Kyler, with the league's in good hands. With Kyler not even being sniffing those guys, but
I have a minor man crush on Justin Herbert. Minor.
He's got the flow.
He's got the second best flow right now. I love watching that kid play. Like, I mean, last year, I mean, he was my MVP pick. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was just one of those guys, man. I love watching the kid play. Like, again, a guy that Matthew Stafford should probably be over just based off of what we saw last year. Like, Justin Herbert's great. Don't get me wrong. Is going to be better than Matthew Stafford. But right now, you're telling me who am I going to pick to lead my team?
Well, they don't have a lead my team category for overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you still got
Justin Herbert has a better arm. Like at this point in his career, I mean, Justin Herbert's what 20.
If I need a big time throw, I want Matthew Stafford.
Okay, but this is Madden. You know what I mean?
But I mean, still, if we're going who's better,
Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback. Yeah, but
exactly. But we're rating quarterbacks. You just said he's a better quarterback. I don't care about attributes. You just said he's a better quarterback. So overall wise, he should be better. That's what you just said.
This is Madden, though. It's different. That's different.
That's not different.
It is different. How is that not different? Matthew Stafford's been in the league for 12 years. He's obviously going to be better than Justin Herbert.
Exactly. So he should be rated accordingly.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying this is Madden. I'm not surprised.
I know. Madden ratings are terrible. Keep it moving, Caleb. Sorry.
Dak Prescott, 89 overall at number 6.
The fact that he's 1 overall behind I don't know. No.
Everybody below him should be above him.
Yeah.
And I'd even argue Kyler Murray should be above him.
Kyler didn't have that good of a year last year, so I don't believe so.
Yeah, but he was hurt. He was hiding some stuff. Bro. Trust me.
Dak Prescott hasn't showed anything since he got his contract, so.
Yeah, very, very shocking. Is it love because he's playing for one of the bigger franchises?
I mean, he's put up numbers. I mean, he's good. I just don't think
last year. I mean, he was before he got hurt. I mean, he was 2 years ago before he got hurt, wasn't he? Like, I mean, he was putting like historic numbers.
Yeah, he's more of like an 80 to 85 overall to me in that range.
So we all pretty much agree he probably shouldn't be in the top 10. Or
if he was number
10, yeah,
I would have been fine. But number 6, and you're above Herbie, Wilson, Lamar, Stafford. I mean, even like I said, Kyler, that's a tomato discussion.
I just love seeing all the young quarterbacks in the top 10. It's really cool to see.
Speaking of young quarterbacks, our first one in the top 5, Joe Burrow coming in at a 90.
Too low.
I was about to say, is that too low?
I'd put him at 95. Dude's disgusting.
I mean, I love it. I just love Burrow, man. I light up when I talk about him. He's just a guy. I can't wait to go through on the NFL Game Pass and rewatch last year and just go through the exhilaration of it all one more time before we, set that one behind us and keep it moving. But I mean, the guys above him, you can't really rate them above. And Josh Allen, Patty, A-Rod, and Tom, like there's no way you can, really itch him to that category yet. Now, will he get there? Yes.
See, again with the argument, Joe Burrow has better arm talent right now in the point of his career than Tom Brady. That just is what it is.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get nobody above Tom Brady.
No.
Yeah, but I think that's just respect, tip of the cap to the GOAT.
But Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the league.
I just can't believe he's only 1 overall rating higher than Dak. Like
that's
if we're going like this. Like, what are we doing?
I can't stand the Bengals, but I have to give my flowers to Joe Burrow and what they're doing. I mean, I hate the Bengals the least out of the division. It's Ravens, Browns, Bengals, but still, it's.
Yeah,
But I'm also professional. I'm going to give an unbiased opinion on Joe Burrow, and I think I knew he was going to be a franchise guy as soon as he took the field. So.
Yeah, Joe's unbelievable. Congratulations
to the Bengal fans for being good for the next 12 years.
Josh Allen is a 92 coming in at number 4. No
Second
complaints.
best Josh Allen in the league, but dude's disgusting. He's a freak athlete and can throw it 1 billion miles per hour.
Yeah, Josh Allen, if it wasn't for Patty Mahomes being Patty Mahomes in that AFC, divisional game, he's going to be playing in the AFC Championship game versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals. So, I think he should be a 94, only a tick behind Patty, just because, what he did in that playoff game was absurd. Like, this dude was throwing seeds. It was the greatest game I've probably ever watched. And
let's move Josh Allen to a 94 and Joe Burrow up to a 92.
92, 93, and I would have nothing to complain about.
Bro, Lamar's mid-20s, Justin Herbert's low 20s, Burrow 25, whatever, Josh Allen, Patrick. Those are 5 young guys in the AFC. That AFC is going to be a battle, son, for years.
Steelers better tank now.
Now we're fine.
Okay, we'll move into the top 3 here. We've got Patrick Mahomes coming in at number 3 at a 95 overall.
I think he's better than Tom Brady, but I don't think he's better than Rodgers, but I think he's better.
In my eyes, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I think that people are overvaluing Tyreek Hill. People acting like the Chiefs are going to fall off. News alert. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got the best quarterback in the NFL in my eyes. They got Travis Kelce. They still have a nice, nice receiving core. They got decent running backs. I mean, they're gonna be a really
great defense,
really good team. So
there isn't a tough division. That division's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, they got the best quarterback though, and in those types of divisions, you always want to have the best quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers at number 2 at a 96 overall.
I think he's the best quarterback in the league, but 96 is fine. I mean, he's coming off MVP of the year, back-to-back MVPs. So.
Yeah, I know. You
look terrible
more love
in the postseason. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I always go off of, what have you done for me lately when it comes to an overall. Yeah, he had a great year. But then you look at that postseason, it's like, man, your team needed you most. And that's what in our draft video, I was so hard against David Roddy because what have you done for me when it matters? And he choked for his team down the stretch in the biggest game. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, putting up 7 points in the biggest game of the year, like you're the number 1 seed in the NFC. It was just one of those things, dude. Aaron Rodgers always puts up a great regular season, but when it matters, he doesn't get the job done. So it's
who's
like,
he throwing to this year?
Exactly. Like there's so many question marks with the offense. Like, are you going to throw to a banged up Robert Tonyan? Like, is Aaron Jones going to be your bell cow where you just give him everything? Like, Alan Lazard, is he ready to step up? Like, are the 2 rookies? Yeah, the 2 rookies they drafted ready to rumble with A-Rod, who's one of the hardest headed quarterbacks in the NFL? Like, I don't know.
And then coming in at number 1,
to go.
No surprise, but maybe a surprise. Tom Brady at a 97 overall. What's our immediate read? Yeah. Just pure respect, nothing but love. Yeah.
Nothing but love for Tom, man. Nothing I can say negative.
He's won 7 Super Bowls,
Yeah. So there we go. Top 10 for quarterbacks. We'll transition over to running backs. We've got Ezekiel Elliott at number 10 at an 88. Any immediate reactions to that?
He had a terrible year.
I'm not a fan.
You could argue a lot of people that watch the Cowboys would say that Tony Pollard is the better running back. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing putting him in the top 10? But I think it's, again, just a big market, kind of like Caleb said with Cowboys. They're just showing respect to these guys. I mean, Zeke's a great running back. Don't get me wrong. But what have you done for me lately? And last year wasn't a good year. I guess we're just rating off of name value and what have they done in the past instead of what they did like last year. But maybe that's recency bias. Maybe he'll turn it around this year. Who am I to? He posted some video. He looked very, very clean. He looked very, very crisp. He was moving very, very well. And normally these bigger guys, because Zeke's built bigger, can get big before training camp. You know what I mean? Like Leonard Fournette, he's up to like 260 before training camp. So like, Zeke's taking care of his body, taking care of his business. So maybe we have a bounce back year for Zeke.
Yep. I'm okay with Zeke. I mean, I think 88 is probably too high, but we'll see what he can do. I think he's probably past his prime at this point, maybe on the tail end of it. So if he can put together a good year, good for him, because the Cowboys really need him to. So
Austin Eckler right above him, also at an 88 at number 9.
Go for it, Troy. It's your guy.
Austin Eckler, dude. I think he's rated way too low. He's one of the best running backs. He's a super small dude. Like he's 5'9", but he is just shifty. He does it all. He's basically a baby Christian McCaffrey. He catches the ball extremely well. He runs through holes, hits the seams. He's just a great dude overall. Like he's just one of those guys I enjoy watching. He's fun. Now, obviously, he's got some injury concerns that have popped up in the past. But I mean, last year he had a great year. So him being rated the same as Zeke is a little confusing. I get Eckler being 88. That makes sense. But it's like you're the same overall as Ezekiel Elliott, all based off years. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. But you can kind of take it too, Fred, because I know you love yourself some Eckler.
Yeah, I was really interested to see what he could do outside of the third down scat back role, and he took the reins, and he's done a great job. He's exceeded expectations. I think he's perfect for what Justin Herbert needs as a young quarterback. So I'm excited to see what he can do. A guy who can he's probably the best pass catching running back in the league outside of maybe Joe Mixon and maybe Dalvin Cook, but I really like Austin Eckler, and I think he's going to have a great year again for an offense that's going to put up a lot of points.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Jones is at number 7 at an 89 overall.
Aaron Jones is okay. I don't know what he is, actually.
I like Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones a lot. I think I
like him too. Maybe 85.
Dude, but I think he doesn't get a lot of touches for whatever reason. Like
he doesn't dump a lot. I mean, he's not really
even like rushing wise, like, obviously towards the back end of the year, weather got cold, so they went to their power.
They love AJ Dillon.
They're a huge AJ Dillon guy, but it's like you have one of the best backs in the league in your backfield. So what are we doing? But I guess it makes sense. Running back is a position where there's constant turnover. So, but I mean, they also inked Aaron Jones to a huge deal. So it's like 15 touches a game for a guy you're paying 12-14 million a year.
Troy, do you know the over-under on that team's wins? What they set it at?
The Packers?
Yeah. Just off the top of your head.
Let me see. I think off the top of my head, it was 10.5. Just off the top of my head. But I haven't.
I'm just not a fan.
It might not be posted, honestly.
Okay.
But I can try to do some quick research while you guys are naming the next one.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Alvin Kamara, number 6 at a 90. That's what my first reaction was. I was like, wow. If we're talking name value, but not only that, but obviously the skill as well, I thought he would be higher up. It's kind of surprising to me.
I mean, I can make an argument that Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, John Taylor, Nick Chubb, and Derrick Henry might be better, but I think he should be higher overall than Christian McCaffrey for sure.
Yeah, so Alvin Kamara, there's some legal stuff that could be a reason why. He kind of had some battery charges, another girlfriend situation, but the NFL has always tended to handle these situations very, very poorly.
Yeah.
So he'll probably get one of these. It's a little slap on the wrisky. He'll be back out there after 4 games. I mean, I'm sure.
Deshaun Watson's still,
Deshaun Watson's going to get 6 games, a slap on the wrist, get no money guaranteed this year, but then still make an absolute crap ton after what he did. I mean,
great job, but let's suspend Calvarelli for a whole year for betting. Oh no,
for betting on his team, and he wasn't even playing. Like, what are we doing? Like, homie's betting on his guys. Like, it's not even like he's betting against his fellas. Like. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, Alvin Kamara just extremely underrated every year, it seems. But what can you do?
That's
I mean, he carried their offense last year, so it is what it is.
That's a fun little team to watch.
You already know how I feel.
I know.
Joe Mixon comes in at number 6 at a 93 overall.
Too low.
Yeah, he's got some respect, man.
I think he's the third best running back in the league behind Henry and Chubb.
Wow.
God, why am I hyping up Bengals today?
Joe Mixon, man, he's tough. I'm
talking about a guy who turned his career around too. I mean, he had that stuff in college, made a mistake.
Slapped a girl.com, just absolutely annihilated her. No,
he should not have done it. I'm not condoning it, but he turned his.
She was talking hot to him. In his defense, like, and she hit him first. Like, she hit him first, bro. Like,
But listen, he came to the league. He hasn't popped up. To my knowledge, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't.
No, he hasn't. He's been great.
He just put his head down.
He's been a huge part of Cincinnati's culture and their vibe. He's a great guy, man. That's turned it all around. And Joe Mixon, I've told Fred before, it kind of reminds me of Lev Bell. Whenever Lev Bell was at his best, he's very, very patient. He waits for the holes to open
or higher.
Oh yeah, that once that hole opens, man, he's a quick move and he just goes and he hits that hole and he's a hard hitter, man. He lowers that shoulder. He's not scared. I love Mixon, man.
Yeah, I love his pass catching ability too. I think he's exactly what I mean. He's a fourth receiver to already loaded receiving core. I mean,
it's nice.
Who do you all have a tight end this year?
Hayden Hurst.
Okay, I'm not mad about that.
Coming in at number 5, first in the top 5 is Dalvin Cook at a 94 overall. Seems right.
Yeah. He's pretty. Yeah, he's been solid top 5 in the league. He's just plays on a bad team, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Not much you can say hating
Fantasy
on him.
football awesome.
He's just a dog, man. He's just a dog.
A solid running back.
Jonathan Taylor at number 4 at a 95 overall.
The best running back.
Guys, I just know who he likes.
This guy is literally one of the best running backs. I remember whenever he came out, I was so high on this kid. And then there were rumors he was going to go to the Buccaneers, and I was like, oh dear God. Like, if that kid goes to the Buccaneers, like, holy cow. But literally one of the best pure runners I've ever seen. Like, he's just one of those kids, man. Again, he hits that hole, but when he hits it, there's a different level to how, like, he can just shift gears. Like, he can go from like just a power, like he just picks up 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. Like, he just chunks them all together. But again, it's not just one of those power backs that's like, oh yeah, he'll give you 6, 7 yards every time, but he can't break one. But this dude, he can break. I mean, I'm pretty sure he broke a 90+ yarder before. Like, this dude can absolutely chunk them all together. And just, I mean, you can blink watching him and he'll be up to like 200 yards rushing. And it's like, holy cow.
He's got the fast. He has the most speed out of the top 10 running backs, like attribute wise. He's got 90.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that seems right. Like, he's just a kid, man, that I absolutely love. I think he's the best running back in the NFL, if you ask me. And you know, I think this is low coming off what have you done for me lately? He's the best. He was the best running back in the NFL last year, and we have him rated at number 4. Like, yeah, all respect to the guys above him, but come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
Fred, you got anything?
Yeah, he's top 3 runner in the league. I mean, he's, like Troy said, his mix of power and speed is something you don't see a lot of. So, because a lot, the couple guys above him are kind of, not, I won't say one-trick ponies, but Jonathan Taylor's the whole package. He can catch it. He can do everything. He can block well. I think the Colts will be decent this year, and I think Jonathan Taylor's going to be a big reason why, because their defense.
I'll never forget one conversation me and Fred had on the podcast before. It was before a Thursday night game, and like Fred was like, my biggest concern with Jonathan Taylor is he can't, like, his pass catching ability. Like, can he take that to the next level? And I kid you not, first play of the game was an 80-yard touchdown pass to Jonathan Taylor, and I texted Fred. Me and him had a conversation. He was like, "Well, I've seen enough." Like, it was just so funny.
Well, coming into the year, he wasn't really a pass catcher.
I was like, because I was like, Fred, watch Jonathan Taylor. He's like, I don't know. And then, like, he was like, he needs to take that to the next level. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, that is a concern. And then, like, 80 yards later, we're both like, okay, this kid's the real deal. Like, done. Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
That was funny. I just remembered that. Sorry.
Coming in now at the top 3, we've got Nick Chubb at number 3 with a 96. And I would argue he should be number 1 after that video released of him few days ago, squatting 6'10" for 2.
I think he should be 2 because I think Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. But Nick Chubb's a hoss, son.
Yeah,
that dude runs with power and he's got the speed. He cannot get tackled. First contact, he's not going down. He's been consistently good for them. They have a great 1-2 punch with him and Hunt. Nick Chubb's great. I love Nick Chubb. I hate playing against him twice a year, but.
I was about to say, I mean, you look at this. I mean, the running back rooms across the AFC North pretty wild. But
probably the best in the league, honestly.
You got Lamar Jackson, you got Nick Chubb, and you got Joe.
I mean, J.K. Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins.
I'm a huge J.K. guy. But yeah, Nick Chubb. What can't you say? Fred's already highlighted it beautifully. I mean, Nick Chubb is what he is. He's a horse.
Yep.
Number 2 is Christian McCaffrey, 96 overall.
What? Why? What has he done? Besides sit the bench. I've been okay with him like being a 90 to 92. That's fine.
Christian IR McCaffrey. I know everybody makes fun of Anthony Davis, dog. Everybody makes fun of Anthony Davis, but the minute another guy that they love goes down and everybody defends him till the bitter end, but everybody will make fun and jump on Anthony Davis's back. It's like, where's that energy with guys like Christian McCaffrey? Where's that energy with guys like Kawhi Leonard? Like, show the same with like you do with AD. Like, come on, man. And I know I'm speaking because I got my heart on my sleeve when it comes to Lakers, but I mean, come on, like, show the same energy. Like, Christian McCaffrey's still rated as like the top 3 running back, and he hasn't played a full year in 3 years. Like, dude hasn't been on the field consistently, and yet he's still one tick behind the number one running back in the league. Like, what are we doing?
I'd probably put him between Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones, right between there. I'd just slot him there.
I'd probably put him in between Kamara and Mixon. Personally, like a 7.
I think Kamara's a better runner.
I think
especially now, at the points in the career.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
3 years ago, but okay, Christian McCaffrey too high.
Okay, number 1, I don't think any surprise here. It's Derrick Henry, 97 overall. Dude is a tank.
Second world fire. Dude, I mean, before he got hurt last year, he was like set to break all kinds of records.
I mean, he's
a buck 50 every game.
He's in the perfect offense for what he is. And I've told that to a lot of people. Like, he got blessed with the situation because they have such a mediocre quarterback that, like, you almost have to feed Derrick Henry the ball.
And they know it's coming too. And they stack the box and he don't.
He's a guy, when you go to face him, you're terrified. Like, Troy, how worried were you when the Bengals had to face them last year in the playoffs?
I'm going to be honest. I was excited.
I would have loved that.
I loved it. I mean, obviously you're scared with time of possession and things of that nature. But I think, again, it's just the way that team is. It's like, let Derrick Henry get his. Like, you're not going to ride the back of a running back to the promised land. So it's just one of those things. And if you have a run-stopping nose tackle or a decent defensive line, I think when crap hits the fan, those guys are going to come to play too. Like, and obviously Derrick Henry coming off his injuries, we probably didn't get the best punch from him. He was probably still kind of working through some things. So yeah, hindsight, if he was 100%, maybe, he gets 1 yard when on that big 4th down stop for the Bengals. Maybe we don't get that stop if he's 100%, but the way it was, I was pretty excited. But yeah, I think he's just in that perfect situation. I'm not a huge Derrick Henry guy. Don't enjoy watching him too much just because he literally is just a brute. Like, it's like watching a UFC fighter in a helmet and pads running through people, just ripping dudes' heads off in the process. Like, it's great, but he's not a pass catcher at all. He's a terrible pass catcher, and he just is what he is.
So there's top 10 for running backs, and we'll go through the wide receiver top 10 real quick. We got coming in at number 10 is Amari Cooper at a 90 overall.
I think Jamar Chase is better than him.
I think the wide receiver rankings are so interesting, but I'm not going to get into Amari Cooper too much. I
don't think he's a top 10 wide receiver in the league.
Neither do I. I mean, what are we doing? There's a handful of guys, and notably Jamar Chase. It's just like,
I think Jamar Chase is better than the next 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, I mean, Terry. Okay, we'll get into that later.
Terry McLaurin coming in next at 91 overall.
I like Terry McLaurin a lot.
I like him, but I mean, what have you done for me lately? What was his year last year? I mean, what did the dude even do? I'm pretty sure I saw a stat where was he even a 1,000-yard receiver?
Remember, like, I had him in fantasy last year, and it was like every other game he'd explode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was just over 1,000 yards, but only 5 tuts. I mean,
look who was throwing to him.
Exactly, but I mean,
gotta show love to Jamar Chase, man. He needs to be in this top 10.
He set records, but I mean, I'm obviously not going to complain about that. But even, I mean, I would still probably Keenan Allen's better than him, isn't he?
Better than who?
McLaurin.
I don't know. I don't think Keenan Allen.
And they're rated the same, obviously. Sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, that's Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen tied with Terry McLaurin.
91 for Keenan. I mean,
Keenan Allen though,
an aging Keenan Allen
is consistently what he is, and year after year,
he's a glorified tight end. He does it well.
Jesus Christ, come on!
He's got some of the best hands in the league. I'll say he won't drop anything.
Keenan Allen, glorified tight end. He's one of the best route runners in the game.
Yeah, man. Well, tight ends are good route runners.
Yeah, Jesus, Pete, you're killing me, dude.
Keenan's fine, yeah.
Number 7 is Mike Evans at a 92 overall.
This is a guy that is just every year
1,000 yards every
plus
year.
yards. And this year, if you're a fantasy football owner, keep your eyes out for Mike Evans. Just
for good or bad?
Great.
Okay. I had him last year.
Will be a top 3 wide receiver in my opinion. In fantasy, just based off of no Chris Godwin for majority of the year. Who's Tommy B going to be throwing the ball to? No Rob for him to fall back on. Just a guy that he consistently has had reps with.
I like that take.
Mike Evans, man, he's going to have if he stays healthy, he's going to have just one of those years.
He's a beast.
Number 6 is Justin Jefferson at 93 overall.
Too low.
I was going to say that. He's unbelievable.
I think he's a top 3 receiver in the league.
He's unbelievable.
You want to talk about route running, quick feet. I mean, hey, he come off that. Yeah, he's great. He just has Kirk Cousins throwing to him. And Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, but imagine he had like Herbert, Burrow, something like that throwing to him.
Top 5 here. Coming in at number 5, Stephon Diggs at a 95 overall.
The best route runner in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, the higher we get into these wide receivers, they're rated so highly that it's hard to really, nitpick because, I mean, they are the best of the best when it comes to
him getting out of Minnesota was so good for his career.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much complaining. If anything, he should be a tick higher. But
he's great. I love him.
DeAndre Hopkins at number 4 at a 96 overall.
Do I?
I don't agree with that. I think he's very, very good when he's out on the field. Obviously, he's got suspended for the first.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great take. Again, I mean, whoever said that was a absolute just
at the point in their career. I'm taking Justin Jefferson over DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill, number 3, 97 overall.
I don't know.
We're gonna figure out what he's like.
Dude, I don't know what I feel about Tyreek Hill because I'm like, dude, he can only run straight, and then he has a good route, and I'm like, God, but maybe he is good, but
yeah,
he's so fast. It's hard to.
It's easy to be great with a good point guard or a good quarterback. We will figure out who Tyreek Hill is this year.
And there's tons of good receivers that just had a good quarterback for a career, but you can tell this guy's different.
Yeah,
I think Jamar Chase is good on any team. It's just.
Yeah, I think that Tyreek Hill will figure out a lot this year.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, number 2 at a 98 overall.
What have you done for me?
Too low. Give him a 99. Come on.
Dude went off last year. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. He's good at everything.
Gifted. He's gifted.
He's a win for us white guys everywhere.
Oh God.
That's out Cooper.
Number 1, Devontae Adams, our first 99 of the video. Only 1 of 4 in the entire game. Devontae Adams.
I'd have like a 96, 97.
Jesus.
I don't know.
For Devontae?
For Devontae.
Lord have mercy.
I still think he's the best receiver in the league. It's just my opinion, though.
So, Troy, you definitely agree with it?
I mean, maybe not 99. I don't think we should be handing out 99s like they're.
There's only 4 in the game.
I know, but
and I don't think he's one of them. I think there's a big difference between who are the other 3? Aaron
Donald, Trent Williams, and Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett got a 99. He's not even the best edge rusher in the North. Nah, I'm just kidding. His pass. Okay, everybody was texting me about it, and I was like, listen, his pass rush win rate is one of the best we've ever seen. So I'm not mad about it.
So, yeah, that's from the offensive end. That's the quarterback, wide receiver, and running back ratings there for Madden 23. You guys excited? Are you guys going to get the game as soon as it comes out?
Yeah, we'll have a franchise for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll transition from football, and I will set Fred up here to cover the home run derby results and get a little playoff picture going for MLB.
Yeah, man. So we got to give flowers to Troy, and we'll let Troy take the floor. Troy, your boy Juan Soto won. How do you feel?
Thank you. Yeah, Juan Soto, my guy. I mean, back against the wall off a terrible year last year. The Nationals didn't even pay for my man's flight to go into LA. Obviously, the big Juan Soto drama. Where's he going? And obviously, Fred, shouts out to you, man. You believed in the young gun Julio. And my man put on an absolute show.
He's so
hit
sick.
Over 80 home runs total, but it doesn't matter. It's all about matchups. But yeah, Julio Rodriguez, I think, stole the show even from the winner, Juan. But yeah, Juan Soto. Thank you, everybody.
Man, he turned down $440 million and went and won a home run derby. Can't beat
Want
that.
some more hardware.
Yeah, so we'll see. A home run derby is cool. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed All-Star weekend. But now the All-Star
really quick nugget on the home run derby. I think it's too long. I mean, dude,
yeah.
that thing was like
it's
2.5
baseball. Everything's
hours.
too long in baseball.
Dude, that thing didn't get over till 10:30, 11 o'clock, and it started at 8 p.m. I'm like, bro,
it's not fun. I mean, it's okay. It's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather watch somebody go shove for 9 innings.
But I mean, I was like, I was texting one of my buddies. I'm like, Jesus, they should like speed this thing up or something. Is there a fast forward? Like, my God.
So yeah, All-Star break's over. Caleb, do you have anything on the home run derby? Nope. All right. So actually, I'm gonna
get after it.
I'm gonna throw a little curveball in here. I'm gonna kind of take the reins here. I'm gonna give you guys the division leaders right now and where everybody sits, and you guys are gonna give me your prediction who wins the division. How about that? How's that sound?
Works for me.
It's a shot in the dark for me, but let's get it.
And I'll give my 2 cents as well because I'm the baseball guy here. All right, so we'll start with the American League. We'll start with the American League East. Okay, we got the New York Yankees right now sitting 12 games above the Rays at 65-31. The Rays are in second at 52-42. The Blue Jays are 52-43. The Red Sox are 48-47, and the Baltimore Orioles, closet Orioles fan, 47-47, 17 games back, first place. Arguably the best division in baseball. Boys, who do you think is going to win this division? And you can give me some thoughts.
You want to say it together, Caleb?
Sure.
1, 2, 3.
Yankees.
Yankees.
I think that was a layup.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I think Aaron Judge and the boys, Giancarlo Stanton, just the pitching staff. It's insane. The Yankees are setting the world on fire right now. Shouts out to the Orioles, though, man. One of the best farm systems in the league. 47, they're 500. So
yeah, they're
super excited for them.
Let's see, 3.5 games back from the wild card spot.
That's a fun team to watch too, and they just had the first pick in the draft, so very cool. All right, moving on to the AL Central. Okay, we got the Minnesota Twins in first place at 51-44, 2 games above the Cleveland Guardians, 48-45. The White Sox 47-48, the Tigers 38-57, the Royals 37-57. So probably a 3-man race here between the Twins, Guardians, and White Sox. The White Sox just being 4 games back in third place. Boys, who do you think wins that division?
Twins.
Go.
There's a podcast I listen to that kind of covers baseball, and they're kind of actually high on the Guardians. So give me the Guardians.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the Guardians as well. I love the Twins. I think Byron Buxton's an incredible talent, but I think the Guardians mix of pitching. Jose Ramirez is absolutely sick, and that team's just a lot of energy, a lot of fun to watch. So I'm going to go Cleveland.
I could just watch Luis Arias, Carlos Correa, and Byron Buxton hit baseballs for a really, really long time. Like I just enjoy like Luis Arias swing. I'm a sucker for a left-handed swing. I mean, I talked about it with Corey Seager a little bit in the home run derby coverage. Dude, Luis Arias is just, I mean, his swing, the way he approaches at bats is just unbelievable. So, I mean, a guy, like you're leading off the top of your order with those guys with Jorge Polanco waiting. And I mean, I think they got like Max Kepler. Like they just have an absolute squad. Obviously pitching is a big concern, but who knows? They might end up with a guy like Luis Castillo whenever the deadline approaches.
Yeah. Well, trade deadline's a lot of fun. I think Luis Castillo is probably the hottest name in the pitching market for sure. All right. So we're going to move on to the West, the AL West. We got the Astros in first. No surprise here. 12 games above the Mariners, who actually just won on a 14-game win streak, but the Mariners sitting at 51-44, 12 games back. Rangers are 42-51. The Angels have the best 2 players in baseball, and they're 39-55, 23.5 games back. And the Athletics are 35-62. Boys, who's winning that division?
Troy, who do you got?
Which division was this? Is this
the AL West, the Astros. 12 games.
The Astros.
Yeah.
Another layup.
I was
Yeah,
happy
They're
to
just
Troy.
so good. They're just so good. They could catch the Yankees
Pitching.
for the best record in baseball.
Yeah, pitching. Jose Altuve. I mean, Kyle Tucker's amazing. Like the Mariners went on a 14-game win streak, and they're still 12 games back. That tells you anything. But the Mariners are super fun to watch. Hopefully they get a wild card because I'd love to see them in the playoffs. That'd be sick. All right, moving on to the National League side of things. Arguably the worst of the two. I think the AL is probably a little bit better, but we got a fun division nonetheless. In the NL East, we got the New York Mets sitting at 58-57, half game above the Braves, who were at 58-38. And the Phillies are 49-45. Marlins are 44-50, 13.5 games back, and the Nationals are 31-65 with a whopping at 27.5 games back from first place. Who's winning the NL East? Probably a 3-man race. Maybe you can throw Phillies in there, but what do y'all think?
You're getting this one first, Caleb.
I don't want it first. Don't give it to me.
No, you're going first. I want you to go
Mm-mm.
first. I want your expertise.
Fred,
the
read off
Mets-
that top three again.
Mets are a half game, or they're in first place. The Braves are in second. The Phillies are in third.
Give me the Braves.
Braves, okay. Ronald Acuna and the boys. I like it.
I'm going Braves. Can't trust the Mets.
Can
I
never
like the
trust the Mets.
I like the Mets.
do
If Bryce Harper gets healthy, watch out for the Phillies. Just saying. All right, moving on
No
to
defense, Phillies.
Troy's NL Central and mine, I guess. Look at the Pirates sitting at third. Are you kidding me? All right, you got the Milwaukee Brewers in first.
go Reds.
Yeah, I don't mind. Let's go Pirates, man. We got Milwaukee in first, 52 and 43, game and a half up. Probably the worst division of baseball this year. St. Louis Cardinals, 51 and 45, 1.5 games back. Pirates are 40, 55, 12 games back. Cubs, 37, 57, and the Reds rounding out 35, 58, 16 games back. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals have the best team, and I think they go and get somebody really good at the deadline, maybe Juan Soto. So
I also
Paul Goldschmidt's
agree.
been the MVP level caliber player this year. So
I agree right there with you. The Cardinals are a good pitching staff away from being.
Well, that's why the Brewers are in
Very.
first. I mean, Corbin Burns, Josh Hader. I mean, insane. Caleb,
Yeah,
you've been quiet.
I'm with all you cards. Give me red legs, actually. I'm just kidding.
Think the Reds are gonna make a crazy turnaround?
Oh, yeah.
After they do an absolute farm sale. Sad day. The division's the worst it's been in years, and we are selling. There's nothing better. Welcome to baseball, fellas.
Ugh. All right, last division, NL West, Dodgers 63 and 30, 10.5 games above the Padres, 54-42, Giants in third, Rockies in fourth, and D-backs rounded out 21.5 games back in fifth.
Dodgers.
LA,
Tatis-
baby.
If Tatis was healthy, I'd say Padres have a fighting chance. but,
Tatis gonna play? Baseball expert?
he's supposed to come back mid-August. So mid-September, sorry, which is going to be too late.
Which is like playoff time. Is he gonna even be able to get his timing?
August, September, probably not. They might just shut him down the rest of the season. I would.
They should.
He's so sick though. So yeah, that is the baseball picture. Hopefully, you got to wait another couple months to playoff baseball, but hang in there, boys, because we'll get there.
Playoff baseball is really, really fun. I'll give it that. Like baseball can be, not the cup of tea for a lot of people, but when it comes to playoff baseball, like if you're gonna watch anything as a non-baseball fan, please tune into playoff baseball. The crowds are insane. Like these clubs, like their fan bases are nuts. Like I was watching last year, the Astros fan base during a playoff game. It was like the third inning with 2 outs. It was like a 2-2 count. The entire place stood up and just got so rowdy. It was like, I remember sitting, I think they were up against the White Sox, if I remember correctly. And I was just sitting in my room with my sound bar turned up. And I was just like, this is incredible. Like, this is what it's all about. Like
they need more of that, man. They got to have more meaningful games. Like nobody's watching games right now because they're not meaningful, but whatever.
You got to find a way.
If you want to hear my rant on the MLB and how poor their marketing scheme is, you can check out a previous podcast where I absolutely roast them. Can I talk about the Angels real quick and then we can move on?
Go for it.
You have Mike Trout, arguably the best baseball player of all time. You have Shohei Ohtani, probably the best baseball player right now in the league. And you're 21 games back from 500. What in God's beautiful, blessed name are you doing? You are trash. You are a terrible organization. Trade away Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Get them out of Dodge so they can actually.
It's sad. It's really sad. I'm a
Shohei
huge
Ohtani's-
Mike Trout guy.
We've never seen a guy like Shohei Ohtani. And you're telling me he's not going to be in the playoffs? That is a shame. You're a poor organization. Get out of LA. You're disrespectful. Go to Montreal. You little weirdo. Get Mike Trout a ring. My God, he's the best baseball player I've ever seen. Right behind his teammate. Put me on the mound.
I love the rant. Absolutely love it.
You feel better, Fred?
No, I don't feel better. And you're going to start out. You're going to start out hot, and then just Taylor Ward, Anthony Rendon. You're going to spend money on Anthony. The WWE, man, something I'm not too in tune with, but I have a couple of co-hosts who absolutely love the WWE, and something big is happening. Maybe.
Oh, something big has happened, Fred.
Go
Vince
ahead.
McMahon has officially retired from WWE. Troy, what are your first thoughts?
So obviously I was in a ton of shock when I saw it. And then I subscribe to Fightful, who has like a lot of inside sources that talks to the wrestlers and everything. So apparently, like, it wasn't just fan base being shocked. There was a lot of wrestlers in shock, like, because apparently there was a meeting at Money in the Bank, which was the last pay-per-view early in July, I should say. And it was reiterated repeatedly that Vince McMahon was going nowhere. Like, they were like saying, like, Vince McMahon isn't going anywhere, no matter what the allegations. He's in WWE, and everybody thought like he was going to be in this game until he died, like until he took his final breath.
Oh,
like
you would have to literally carry him away from WWE.
Yeah, so either it was a change in heart where he really felt like, okay, it's just my time, or there's some allegations that are going to come up that are like, holy cow, no wonder he retired. So it's hard telling. Obviously, Brock was very upset, left SmackDown set. All of that. They were trying to get him back, eventually got him back. So everybody can calm down. There's still going to be the main event for SummerSlam. But, then obviously it's like, what's next? What's next for WWE? Or is this really even goodbye? Or is this just a see you later? Maybe once the allegations kind of settle, maybe Vince McMahon inches his way back in. It's hard to tell the CEO and everything if he wants to come back. No. So I don't know. It's hard telling. It's hard telling what they do from here. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
So he's officially retired from CEO. CEO position is handed over to his daughter, Stephanie, and Nick Khan. So they're co-CEOs. But Vince is still got a lot of – he still owns like all of his shares in the company. Like, he didn't give any of that away. So I think there is a big chance of seeing him again. Maybe not like as often. But like when it comes time for like the big shows like WrestleMania or SummerSlam, he might poke his head in and, promote it any way possible or whatnot. But I mean, yeah, it's wild to me because it's like, this isn't the first allegation this man's had. It's not the first time he's looked pretty sketchy on camera, on TV, whatever. So it is a matter of, is there more out that we haven't heard yet? Or it could possibly be like WWE is like a publicly traded company. So it's like it could have been hurting the stock and Vince McMahon cares about his money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. Obviously, nobody really knows what all this entails now from behind the scenes. But going forward, he stepped away from creative as well. And I think that's a big thing there because a lot of like what draws former WWE fans out is their creative. I think like some of their storylines, some of the gimmicks they give these people, some of the like new packaging they give on these guys, it's like, this is really stupid or this is really childish. And Vince McMahon is behind of a lot of it. So I think it's a great opportunity to bring someone in that can freshen up the content. And especially with you going with TV 14, let's spice it up. Let's get a little bit more creative.
SummerSlam is rated TV 14 on Peacock. It is,
but
not rated.
From what I hear, Bruce Pritchard's going to be taking over creative. And if you don't know who that is, he's been in WWE on and off since like the mid 80s. So he's pretty much worked directly under Vince McMahon that whole time. And so it's just another Vince McMahon guy taking over Vince McMahon's job. And that's not, in my eyes, a good sign when it comes to creative and comes to rebranding your company now moving forward. So I think if they need to figure out a way to get somebody in there that can draw new eyes in. Like, don't stick to what you've been doing for the last 30 years. Like, let's get something new in there. Let's get fan attention back because, I mean, I tuned into SmackDown on Friday after this news, and I haven't watched SmackDown in years. So it's like you're getting this wave of people coming back that haven't watched them for so long to see how they address this. And they didn't even address it on Friday, which I guess I maybe it might have been the right decision, but nonetheless, it's like you've had this content for so long, be dull, be boring, be childish, whatever. Okay, that man's gone. Let's spice it up. And they haven't done that.
I literally have in my notes next up Bruce Pritchard ?
John Laurinaitis too.
Well, John Laurinaitis is out. He's out of the company. But Fightful reported that with Bruce Pritchard, a lot of the talent is saying that not much would change with Bruce because obviously, like you said, Bruce is a Vince guy, takes a lot of direction from Vince. Vince would still have a huge, I don't want to say a joystick to the operation, but he would have an ear that he could go to and be like, hey, this is what I think should happen. But I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. I think that Stephanie and Nick need to really sit down. This is their first big decision, with creative control and everything. Like who's going to be that guy? I personally would love to see like a Paul Heyman kind of step into that role and take a side of creative, because he's a super smart guy that just knows the business so well. And I think that they're taking the right steps with bringing back in Triple H for talent. Like they could really start not only building on what they had with like the NXT, the black and gold or whatever that was, where literally that NXT roster was just so deep. Like it's better than many main, like Ring of Honor. Like they had better wrestlers than Ring of Honor. And obviously half of AEW now is NXT black and gold. So it's just one of those things. Like Triple H has an eye for talent. The talent loves Triple H because he's been where they've been. So this is a huge opportunity for WWE, kind of like you said, to take hold of, just something different, be different again, like bring back the eyes that we have lost over the years. And I watch every week. And honestly, like I think whenever they had Cody Rhodes starting to come back, that's whenever WWE TV started really picking up steam again. But obviously now with the double champ being a part-time wrestler, he holds both belts. So it's hard right now on SmackDown because your champ's not even, the champ wasn't even on the show this Friday. Like you're a week away from SummerSlam and the champ's not on the show. It's just one of those things. It's like, what are we doing? And, Drew McIntyre kind of said it on SmackDown. He was like, we need a fighting champ again. Like, because those run the show. And so having two belts attached to one guy that has now signed a new deal as a part-timer, it's like, what are we doing? Like having a part-time champ just isn't best for business, I guess. And so it's hard.
And it's even like Fred, you haven't watched wrestling in a while. And even with us talking about this whole Vince McMahon stuff, you were texting us last night and you're like, man, I need to get back into wrestling. Like this is the perfect opportunity to bring back old fans, spice it up. Like nobody cares about TV PG anymore. Nobody cares about seeing all these dumb gimmicks. Like let's just spice it up. Let's get some stuff in there that brings back the old fans and brings back that excitement into wrestling.
Now, do you have anything on your mind that they could do? Like, is there a certain match type that maybe is like kind of gone into a childish form, or is there any type of? Obviously, the promos are going to get better because they can cuss a little bit more, which is.
I think the biggest thing for me is like the constant repackaging of like changing people's names all the time, changing people's gimmicks all the time. Like you had a guy like Pete Dunne. I liked Pete Dunne. I thought he was pretty, just a tough-nosed kid that wanted to fight. Change his name to Butch, and he's dressed like a kid.
I like Butch a lot. Can I be honest? The Sheamus Fight Club is dope, in my opinion. Like I think that Sheamus is perfect for that role. I hate the little the side dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Rich. Dude, that kid hurt Big E. You don't hurt my guy. You do not hurt one of my guys. And he broke Big E's neck. Shouts out.
And then you have a guy like LA Knight. He was Eli Drake in TNA. He was very, very over in TNA. They bring him over here, LA Knight. Okay, that's kind of a stupid name, whatever. Then you change his name again to Max Dupree, and he's a male model.
Max Dupree was dope. Okay, listen, they killed that. That was a Vince McMahon product. And the Max Dupree, that was dope for about 2 weeks. And then they did the Maximum Male Models.
Yeah,
so it kind of went downhill. But now they have, that female, apparently his sister, that's going to be running it now. And they're going to do another rebrand with Max Dupree. So maybe we see LA Knight come back. I don't know, but that guy on the mic is really, really good.
Because he's a good talent. He's been in the business for a long time. And you bring him in WWE and give him a stupid gimmick and surround him with two schlubs. It's like, dude, come on. Just let the guy fight.
Mason Mansoor.
Yeah.
Mansoor.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job. Like, I'm a huge Max Dupree guy. I think it would have worked. They just took it a different route with the Maximum Male Models. And I think that they were hopeful that Cesaro was signed back and that would be his guy. Like, because I remember there was a lot of rumors that Cesaro was going to be his guy and he was going to be like the manager for Cesaro. Okay, and that was going to be his big break into the main roster, was going to be Cesaro's manager. And then once Cesaro got his run, then, obviously Max Dupree or LA Knight or whatever they brought him back as was obviously going to turn into a wrestler eventually, as they all seem to do. But I don't know. That was a rumor that I had heard. And then obviously Cesaro took less money with AEW Ring of Honor, and thus we have Claudio, the Ring of Honor champion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you want to talk about the Ring of Honor pay-per-view?
Yeah, we can go ahead and get into that. Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor was last night. If you didn't watch it, go out of your way and watch it. It'll probably get uploaded to YouTube in a few weeks or a few months, whatever the case is. Try to find your way into watching it at some point. We had 6 title matches, but we'll start with the pre-show here. First match was Colt Cabana versus Anthony Henry. Colt Cabana is a veteran of the wrestling business, started off in Ring of Honor in its early days. On AEW now, but really not on AEW now. He picked up the victory. I think that was just like a tip of the hat to a veteran whose record in Death Before Dishonor was like 2-8. So I think it was pretty important to give him the win there. You had the Shinobi Shadow Squad going up against the Trustbusters. Trustbusters led by Arya Daivari, who was in WWE.
Trustbusters.
Who was in WWE for a while. They pick up the W there. 6-man tag. It was Blake Christian, Tony Deppen, and Alex Zane versus the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage. Gates of Agony, I've never seen any of their work. I've heard some people talk about them. They are just huge dudes that know their way around the ring, along with Brian Cage. Brian Cage isn't necessarily for me hit or miss with me, but I thought the Gates of Agony looked pretty well. Brian Cage able to pick up the victory there for them. And then finally, it was Allison Kay versus Willow Nightingale. Not a fan of this Willow Nightingale character. She's pretty over with crowds for some reason. She's starting to make her way into AEW a little bit more, but she was able to pick up the victory there. So that was the pre-show. And then we went directly into the main card with the title match first. Caught everybody by surprise. I didn't really understand it, but Claudio Castagnoli versus Jonathan Gresham. Like I predicted, a lot of solid mat wrestling there. These guys knew each other, worked with each other pretty well. Claudio just really just towers over Jonathan Gresham now. I mean, Claudio's got the size and the strength, dude. I don't know why he was never a world champion in WWE. But nonetheless, he picked up the victory and only like a 15-minute fight. That really caught me by surprise.
The women got a longer match.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really understand why. I'm going to try to figure out if there was a certain reason behind that and whatnot. But nonetheless, pretty solid match for what we were given. Claudio Castagnoli, new Ring of Honor world champion. He was never, he started off in Ring of Honor as well. He was never world champion there either. So this is like his first real big like world championship title run. So you love to see it. You hope, I hope it really works out for him there. The 6-man tag team title match was on the line. The Righteous were defending against Dalton Castle and the Boys. And Troy, I think you really you picked up on this match, didn't you?
Dude, that big guy, he stole the show for me.
I
just loved that big dude. He can work that ring, man. He was flying over the top rope. He reminded me a lot of Angelo Dawkins from the Street Profits, just a bigger guy that can move. He's agile in the ring. But yeah, that dude was fun to watch.
It was there was some spots in there that I was like, okay, this is kind of stupid. But nonetheless, I like Dalton Castle. His gimmick is different. I don't really know exactly what his gimmick is, but nonetheless, he was able to pick up the victory there for Dalton Castle and the Boys, new 6-man tag champions. Then we had Wheeler Yuta going up against Daniel Garcia in the Pure Championship. And I like the stipulation behind that match. 3 rope breaks. After that third one, it doesn't matter. You win or lose through that. No close fist. You get 1 warning, and after that, you're disqualified. And an hour time limit. This match was actually pretty exciting. It didn't go like all 3 of these matches up to this point really hadn't gone that long. But given what these two had, I thought these two worked the mat really, really well. They you could tell not one didn't really have the edge over the other. Like both of them are just scrapping, trying to get the upper hand. Wheeler Yuta able to pick up the victory though. They didn't really use the rope break as much as
there was 1 rope break.
Yeah, so maybe that's because I haven't watched a whole lot of Ring of Honor, so it's maybe they do it it's incorporated more often in different shows, different fights, but it's like, this is a pay-per-view. Now you're owned by AEW. So you have the AEW eyes now turning to Ring of Honor. Like, I think you should incorporate that more, like show the new fans like what that division is all about and the excitingness behind it, and exploit it a little more. And they really didn't. And it was kind of disappointing, but I
felt like this match, it took like 9 minutes to get going. And then once it got going, it was really, really good. But then there was only like 7 minutes of that, like high energy. Like I was really into it. And then it's like, oh, that was a rather, was that the finish on like a roll up? Or it was
like some kind of weird roll up. I can't explain. I don't know. He like wrapped up both his arms and sat on one. So I mean, like it came. I think they told a good story where like not one guy was able to get the upper hand on the other.
Yeah.
So because of that, like Wheeler rolled him up for the victory to retain the title there. And then we had brother versus brother, Roosh versus Dragon Lee, and my God, Dragon Lee is a unit. I mean, both these guys are pretty big. It was an exciting match, not as high flying and fast paced as I thought it would be. But I thought it told a good story as well. You have two brothers. They showed respect from the beginning of the match, hugging it out. And then Roosh just started disrespecting his younger brother. And I think that's pretty telling. Like if me and my brother were to get in a fight, I'd start off like, okay, I'll take it easy on you. And then as it continued, I'd be like, dude, screw it. And just start getting disrespectful. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good story. With two brothers, it's like you don't necessarily want to have to pull out all the stops. But as the match continued and Roosh wasn't able to get the upper hand, he started pulling out more and more disrespectful moves, chops to the face, chops to the chest, kicking him in the face, just being disrespectful. But we had a lot of rough bumps too. And Roosh was able to pick up the victory there. Probably the most boring. Go ahead.
Yeah, with that match, I was kind of like okay, Dragon Lee seemed like the better wrestler, like just from a perspective of I haven't seen either, and just going into it with an open mind, like just like seemed like the better wrestler. But then I saw on AEW's Instagram like that Ruth guy or Roosh or whatever, he has a title match versus Moxley, like the AEW like on Wednesday. So I was really like, that's interesting. I don't know if that was announced beforehand or if that was just announced, but I was like, man, that seems a little odd, I guess. But I guess they're trying to incorporate these Ring of Honor guys and trying to get them some exposure. But I was just kind of like, in my eyes, Dragon Lee had the bigger spots, had the bigger moments, had the bigger like wow factor in the match, and then you're going to throw the other guy in a title match.
I think Roosh is more well known though.
Okay,
I think Roosh is the more well known guy. And then the next match, the worst match of the night, Serena Deeb versus Mercedes Martinez. What were your thoughts watching that?
Again, as a guy that doesn't know much about it, the Ring of Honor stuff, like Mercedes was carried the entire match. She had the most sloppy spots, like in the big spots where she should be able to dominate the smaller woman and be able to throw her around. It seemed like she was like losing her grip or something on her, and with all of her like big slams would end up like these, like it's almost like she was setting her down on like a pillow. Like, hey, like it was just like these moments where it was supposed to be like, oh wow, you are more dominant than her. It was just kind of like was that supposed to happen? Like what happened there? And then of course she ended up getting the win via submission. It was just like one of those things. It's like the other woman literally carried you the entire match.
Serena Deeb, if this showed anything, it showed Serena Deeb is a very, very solid wrestler.
Yeah,
she
like
really solid mat performer, but she can also carry an opponent and make her try to look the best she can. Because Mercedes Martinez, like her forearms, her punches, all of it was just sloppy. It's ugly. Wasn't convincing at all. And I think that's the problem with wrestling today, and I can get into that another time. But everybody's so worried about doing the big moves that they don't focus on the basics, and their punches look just terrible, and it's just not convincing at all. But Mercedes Martinez picks up the victory there via submission. And then we get into the last two matches of the night, probably the most two sought-after matches, in my opinion. And it was Samoa Joe against Jay Lethal for the television title. And this crowd was in to Samoa Joe 100%. Samoa Joe, the pop for that guy. It was really quiet because of the last match. And then it really picked up. Fans were all 100% behind Samoa Joe, completely against Jay Lethal. We saw Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh come out, try to work some heel. He kicked Satnam Singh, ref kicked Satnam Singh out. Sanjay Dutt comes in, sneaks in a lead pipe in front of the ref, so the ref goes to take it out. Jay Lethal picks up the title, hits Samoa Joe upside the head. Samoa Joe is still able to kick out. A lot of back and forth with this match. A lot of hard hitting spots, which you expect out of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe can hit you hard, but can also play agile if he needs to. Given his age and his size, Samoa Joe looks really, really good.
In injury history.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this match. It was the second best match of the night. Samoa Joe able to pick up the victory there. Really, really good work between these two. These two are really comfortable with each other, going back to their TNA days. It's something I would love to cover eventually, going back and watching an old TNA pay-per-view and watching these guys in their prime just going at each other. But yeah, Samoa Joe retains the title there. And then finally, the main event of the night, 2 out of 3 falls, tag team titles, as the Briscoes go up against FTR. If you have not seen the Briscoes, you need to go out of your way, get on YouTube and watch these two fight. The two brothers from Delaware or something. There's 2 Hicks that just want to get out there and just beat the piss out of each other or beat the piss out of anybody. These two are a phenomenal tag team. I really enjoy anything I've ever seen out of those two. They bring legitimacy to the sport. Obviously, you know what you know about pro wrestling, but these two bring legitimacy to it. They're exciting to watch. They're serious about it. And everybody knows about FTR, the best tag team in the world right now. And this match was phenomenal. Yeah, just look at those two, man. Just look at those two faces. Anyways, this match was, and I guess we saw shorter matches at the beginning of the card. So this match could go 40, 45 minutes. And I was hooked for all 40 to 45 minutes of this match. 2 out of 3 falls. Briscoes were able to pick up the first fall. And they were threatening FTR to sweep them. I don't think anybody really thought that was going to happen. But nonetheless, I think after that first fall, you thought there was definitely a possibility. And FTR able to work their way back, able to fight their way back into getting the next fall. And then from there, when it was 1-1, I really was like, I really don't know what's going to happen from here. Because the Briscoes are the face of a Ring of Honor tag team wrestling, 12-time champs, been there from the beginning. And FTR titles all over the world, several different companies. And it was a phenomenal match. We saw Cash Wheeler take a big bump outside the ring through a table. And then Dax Harwood, a pile driver off the second rope. And it looked stiff. It looked tough. And that's the kind of way to put over a match like that. You have 2 hard-hitting teams. It has to end on a big bump like that, a big hard bump that there's no chance he's kicking out. And they did exactly that. Phenomenal match between those two. That was the match of the night. The reason it was the main event. It was the big draw. I enjoyed it. So first Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And whenever I start, I want to get into reviewing wrestling pay-per-views, whether it's live or like old pay-per-views on YouTube. But nonetheless, out of it, I want to, at a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this pay-per-view probably like a 5.5 or a 6, just because you had great matches all throughout the card, but several of them didn't go as long as they probably should have, or you would like to see. So they had to squeeze a lot in at the given time they had. But 5.5 or 6, just because what we had was really solid overall. And then the main event obviously brings it over the top. So not a bad pay-per-view given the time that they were given and all the matches they had in there. But yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, I would go out of your way to try to watch this stuff, whether going back and buying the pay-per-view or finding matches on YouTube later on. So yeah,
if I had to wrap a bow on our wrestling segment here before we get out of here, it would be, you said something there during your Ring of Honor thing. It said, I didn't know what was going to happen in the end of that match. And I think that is the part of wrestling for WWE, for AEW, and for Ring of Honor. You have to add in that element of what in the world is going to happen. Because right now in WWE with the Bloodline, there was one match on the Money in the Bank card that I was like, holy cow, what is going to happen? And it was Street Profits versus the Usos. And it was one of the best matches I have watched since I've returned back to watching WWE from an older perspective. it was like, holy cow, this is entertaining. This is what you have to strike on, is these what is going to happen matches. And I think right now with Roman being the champ, and I'm a huge Roman guy, love Roman Reigns, but
Madden.
You did? Oh yeah, at a gym. I'm a huge Roman guy. Like he's phenomenal. His work on the mic has just gotten better and better. And then obviously with Paul Heyman, he's one of the best heels in the game, if not the best. So it's just one of those. Obviously, he's going to lose the belt eventually, but it's not going to be at SummerSlam. But we have to get back to like what in the world is going to happen. Like we have to have that.
It starts with all these leaks on Twitter too. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to know who's like a surprise or who's like just
who's coming back. Who's
just like I want like the surprise element to wrestling back. And I think that like when you're a kid growing up, you don't have especially like back in the day, like there was no internet leaks, there was no finding like all these things. And so it's like there's so many smart fans in the business now that it's like it's hard to keep that legitimacy when it comes to outside of the ring telling the story in the ring. Like everything outside of the ring is already leaked, it's already all over the place. You've got wrestlers doing interviews just breaking every secret of the business every week. And so it's just like let's just take pride and bring legitimacy back to wrestling and making it seem like it's legitimate and quit breaking every single news that there is to be broken, you know. So just kind of wrapping a bow on that was just my opinion. Why, like hearing you talk about that, I was like, yeah, that is this side of wrestling that would get you excited, get you excited.
Even as grown men sitting back watching the product, like it gets you to the edge of your seat, like, holy cow, what is going to happen? Like, how are they going to develop this story? Like what happens from here? So yeah, that's just my perspective on it, wrapping a bow on it. Fred, you got anything? And you can go ahead and send us home, brother.
No, man, I'm super excited for the world of wrestling, man. I'm glad that we are diving in. I think it's going to be an awesome thing. We're X Factors, man. We're not just good at one thing. We're multifaceted. You know, we're going to surprise you, and we're going to do it at a high level. So, guys, if you don't have anything else,
good.
Home, bro.
Good, all right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, the X Factor Sports Talk. We covered some great topics today. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, like it, all that up. We'll see you guys next week as always. Be on the lookout for midweek videos where we cover different stuff. We're super excited to change the game. Don't be a star. Don't be a superstar. Be an X Factor. Be different. Change the game. See you guys next time. God bless. Peace out.